Here is another revelation that I am here to drop about attracting and magnetizing love. I'm doing this now because we all know that the love holiday is approaching soon. And, I hate when people wait until like February to talk about love magic. It is so marketing. It is so cliche. And as somebody with a master's in internet marketing, low key, and another in digital media design, low key, I'm here to tell you that love is something that we're all trying to manifest and sustain year round. And there's different layers and levels to love work. And while I have learned quite a bit through demonic magic and botanica magic and other types of magic, the universal truths that I'm going to drop are going to be applicable for anybody if you read between the lines. So for those of you who are Christian and will not touch anything and hope that one day I repent and get it together, take heed. I'm still speaking universally, so you can still take what you can while I'm here, because why do this if it's not going to lead to anything, if you think that repentance and resignation of this may come one day. So again, respectfully, I already paid the cost so that you can get the message. So here's the first thing. Your appearance matters, but your appearance doesn't matter. Here's what I mean. You're still lovable, and you're still going to attract people who want to be with you and love you for who you are, no matter how you look. But the person that you'll be with is going to be a mirror of you. That means if you have secret resentments about yourself, even if you feel like you look perfect to the world and most people love you, that one person or those few people are going to say the things that you say to yourself, that you think to yourself. And a lot of those things can be cruel or mean. But if they mirror your inner truths and they mirror shadow things that you haven't worked on in yourself or accepted in yourself, then, you've got to understand that that person is a jerk. But when you cut them off and heal, you quietly take those things into account and you work on them. I'm going to be honest. I dated this one guy who, he was like 6'4", but he thought he was 6'5", 6'6". And he very much exaggerated a lot of things about himself. I was coming off the heels of some really incredible heartbreak, and the people pleaser in me at the time thought I saw a Beauty and the Beast motif, and I thought I saw safety in this hyper masculine person. So what I will say is there came a point when the negging began, and one of their complaints was about like my body size and my weight. And this person claimed to go to the gym every day, but they ate like crap. I have seen not a fruit, not an apple, not a nothing. Like I would see some fruits here and there, but this person was too cheap to buy a blender. And if I'm gonna be real, this person had like lots of cash money on hand and several bank accounts and multiple cars. This person had the ability to go to the dentist. This person had the ability to enchant people with their behavior. And this person was also very spiritual. So he knew how to tap in and pick up things with his monitoring spirit guides. And at the time, I was so enthralled, like, oh, this must mean something. But you must understand that there are some people out here, men and women, people who don't identify as anything, who are really out here to siphon, and who, once they realize they can't dim your light by being with you, and you know what I mean, they try to find other ways to steal it. Well, this person was so successful in what they did, but at some point, they got paid back. However, the irony in the mirror of this person was, They were trying to make my age an issue, my weight an issue, my quality of life an issue. I was making more than this person was on paper because this person didn't have a job, if you read between the lines. And I didn't mind that, but there was a lot of anger and resentment with this person. And then it was like the more I tried to help, the less they were there. And they even went out of their way to ignore me on my birthday, tell me I was getting old, and laugh at it. I remember walking in the rain that day to look for apartments because that person convinced me to give up my luxury apartment at the time to get an apartment around the corner that would cost less so that I could save money. Think about that. Within days of thinking that I had signed the lease and moved in, he said, "Oh, we're moving too fast. Let's be friends. Nothing will change. I'll still be there for you." Let me tell you something. I hated my job at the time. My job hated me. My apartment lease was up. My birthday had just passed. Yeah, I called my father. I was in my feelings crying about this because it was just like, whoa, what the hell was this about? It was very random. But I'm grateful it happened. And, whatever his side of the story is, I'm cool with that. I don't care. But I got to move all the way home and start over. And that was about 2021, right? And I've been home since, and I've been able to balance things out and really see how even the mean things he said about how I don't go to the gym and it shows. And I'm looking at him like, you have, I don't know what the medical term is called, but it's the thing when you have like chronic man boobs. And it's like, you have chronic man boobs. You have an attitude problem. And you love to just say mean things. I'm trying to keep it as neutral as possible because the point is that he was a reflection of where I was at the time and what I was thinking about myself, even though I wasn't saying it out loud. And it was like he had the ability and the gift to pick these things up and try to use it against me. And I knew he had weaponized it against the women. So again, sometimes the people that you're trying to give the most to are the ones you need to stay the fuck away from. Otherwise, you will level up your skills and learn to give people their own energy back in the form of a return to sender, in the form of many other things. But back to the main point of me opening this up. Right after this man, I met a wonderful companion, just as tall, 10 times finer. Like, to this day, I cannot find a flaw in this person, and I do not talk to this person at all. Wonderful spirit, wonderful heart, just, we weren't aligned. We're not aligned. So, had to let that go with love. And that's also where a lot of these energy lessons come from. Because with this person, they didn't say anything negative to me or about me. And when I did see things come up, I realized that I had to let go of a lot that this previous person tried to implant in order to protect the peaceful and happy situation that I was in. And it also gave me a fertile ground to release my attachment to things like motherhood, marriage, the concept of forcing things to work out a certain way, and really allowed me to dive into myself. And it really allowed me to dive into who I have become and who I will become. It became safe to relax. It became safe to try new hairstyles. It became safe to get my nails done without feeling like somebody was in my pockets, counting my pockets to see how much money I have. It felt safe to fall asleep at somebody's house and Instead of ignoring me, they're wrapping their arms around me. But you also learn to leave when those natural inclinations aren't there either. And that's another lesson for another day. But with the second individual, what this other person trashed, this person found completely fine, completely attractive. And what happened is that without him trying, because he was at capacity, he had no capacity for more than companionship, and I was cool with that because that's where I was at. I flourished. It was like a rose that bloomed from concrete and became a whole rose bush in the middle of like Flatbush Ave, if you know what I mean. I became safe to just be myself in general, alone, as well as when I was around this person. And that's part of the healing journey, because I also had to learn that somebody can be a wonderful person for a great period of time, but when it's done, it's done. And a lot of times you can be doing love magic to take a relationship with somebody to the next level, only to discover that the next level does not align with where they really are, because they're not where you are anymore, or that fundamentally deep down inside, they never intended to be there, and y'all both knew that. It's just time to accept it. And you knew where you were going, so there's no love lost because you accepted too. But if you're going to do love magic, as I've said, you've got to do it on people who want to love you. And then you've also got to do the work on yourself to love people for who they are, where they are, if you want to be loved back. Because you have to be in a space where you feel safe enough to notice when you're the one that needs a little polishing, and then you start polishing before that other person can pick up on it or make it an issue. Sometimes it could be the first tiny faux pas. You just gotta get yourself into a safe environment with somebody that's positively bringing the best out of you, as opposed to somebody that can pick up on your lack of self-love, your lack of self-worth, or anything that you're still reeling from, and then pretend that, this is who I need to be with. No, it's not. No, it's not. Pour all of this love magic into yourself. Pour it into your general field. Pour it into different people around you in specificity to kind of get a litmus test of who actually wants to be with you, who's actually primed to grow with you, and who's not. And do love magic so that you can actually become wise in love and get to a point where you see multiple aspects of love and can carefully sculpt and choose and create the type of love you deserve, because that's the last part of the lesson for this part of today's long-ass rant, which is that once you learn how to master the art of co-creation by manifesting whatever you're learning to manifest and doing it successfully, it is going to be your ability to observe your regular, real reality, aka the 3D, as people like to say, and really, really check for any cognitive dissonance or dissonance in reality or misalignment where what you're saying and desiring isn't matching up. And it's not necessarily for you to act on or react on, but take note of it. Discuss it with yourself. Discuss it with a trusted source. I know people hate AI, but if that's your thing, talk about it with AI. Talk about it with, discernment and licensure, okay? Because this is not me taking responsibility for your actions. And I don't think you've realized it, but even if you go to a therapist, you're still signing papers that, kind of say that you understand that you yourself are responsible for your actions. So, that being said, you do your love magic. You take care of your shadow work. I have no idea why people think it's demonic to look into your shadow or your dark side, because a lot of times your shadow is holding on to things that you crave or desire or haven't handled or come full circle with. It takes all that unfinished business and it works itself into your life to agitate you until you address it. So getting to know your existential kinks is a good thing. That is a book. I forgot who it's by, but if you get that book will kind of explain everything you need to know. And there's no like witchcraft or whatever in it. Like, it's literally a book about how you look at things that you're going through or that have happened in a way to improve them. So when you combine that with your magic and with your desires and your manifestation, what you're doing is you're actually becoming your own road opener, and you're actually helping God, Lucifer, Jesus, Buddha, Lakshmi, Oshun, Ogun, Loki, Thor, Nyx, your higher self, your ancestors, whatever you choose to believe in, to work with you faster, because a lot of your blockages are self-created and then they manifest through other people. The things that mean ass asshole was saying to me were things that I had been silently saying to myself, but he had the spiritual ability to read me and pick up on it. And guess what? He was a natural predator, and I was openly prey. Energetically, spiritually, physically, emotionally, I was bleeding like a shark in public. And because of that first shark bite, even if I kept the strong facade, the energy was delicious to the predators, and they kind of knew what to do. Once I grew in my self-love, my sovereignty, my chill, and I just kind of let things run its course, and I saw things for what it was, my job became, for the past few years, not to attach to a relationship, but to really attach to myself and figure out what the hell is going on with me. Because why the hell was this okay? Like, this is not what I was raised to deal with. But I also realized society normalized a lot of things. A lot of people didn't grow up the way I grew up. And then a lot of people did grow up with some of the way I grew up, including a lot of social conditioning. And, from 0 to 7, from birth to 7 years old, you are absorbing a lot of your core beliefs and a lot of the things that are in your, quote, shadow realm or your shadow self. And you don't even realize it. You don't realize that these things are playing out in movies when they're creating patterns. That hurt you, that sabotage you. So there's that. And then I'm remembering, and now I will wrap this up. The reason why all of this matters when I say looks matter, but your looks don't matter, is because the better you look and feel to yourself, and the healthier you are. For many people who resonate with the idea of weight loss, that includes losing weight, releasing weight, however you want to frame it, that your energetic being embraces. Yeah, losing weight will help, but there are people who've lost weight and look completely horrible because of how they've done it or the frequency they've done it with. When you do things from a place of love and healing, and you're not even really focused on, quote, weight loss, but you're doing like self-love, glamour, forgiveness, road opening, like when you're doing the spells that fill your cup, the byproduct is aging backwards, losing weight, your body reshaping itself into a more attractive style, as well as you finding more people naturally attractive. You won't be so locked in on what the media or what your society or what your environment or what your hood or what your school or whatever you're like measuring things by. You start to have more of your own open-minded opinion and attraction to things, and then you see more of that attraction in yourself. As that happens, and you're literally focusing on taking care of the things you want to take care of for yourself, what you'll realize is that things are starting to come to you. And those are the things that are going to try to love up on you, and you get to discern what stays, what goes, what's for you, what's not for you. And you invest your energy accordingly. But invest in how you look your best. But also understand that your inside, like how you really feel about yourself, your internal composition, it's going to show up in how people treat you. And your ability to release, attract, transmute, or let go of a situation, depending on whether it serves you or not. Because you can also transform a person in a situation, but they must love you or like you enough or have a natural inclination for it to happen. Otherwise, you'll be, trying to grasp water with your hands. And I'm going to tell you, there's no such thing as a fistful of water. So hope you get what I'm saying and have a good one.